Oh, how you doing? You alright? It's the Saturday roundup. In you come. I just thought I'd mix the intro up a little bit today, startle you, get you right into the video. It's a Saturday, I'm in a good mood, a bit like John yesterday. The sun is shining and I want to get out into that sun, so I'm going to batter on with the video today. It is the roundup and we've got plenty to get through. Speaking of John, he was on the channel yesterday with this legend chatting about all things Celtic. So if you missed that for whatever reason, we did put it out during so-called working hours yesterday. Check that out, it's linked at the top right of the screen. In terms of Celtic news that's happened since then, there is a fair bit and two official bits coming out of the club. The first bit is that Harry Kewell has joined the club. That was confirmed yesterday. He's coming in as a first team coach. Making way for him is Stephen McManus, who has been moved on to the B team. Straight away, on the face of it, that looks like a demotion, but there is a bit of thinking behind it that we'll get onto in a wee second. Just first of all, on Harry Kewell, Ange said, "I am really pleased that Harry has agreed to join my staff. He knows the game inside out at the highest level and wants to play football the way myself and my team see it. I know he is hugely excited about joining Celtic. He is well aware of the scale of the club, what our ambitions are, and I know he will make a really positive difference to my team." I've seen a lot of people comment on Harry Kewell's arrival at Celtic, and on the face of it, given his recent coaching pedigree, especially as a manager, it looks a little bit strange. But I just think, much like Ange has brought in a lot of hungry players to the club and it's worked wonders, I think the same could be happening with Harry Kewell here. I know a few people have commented on this channel, and I'm assuming in other places as well, about the fact that Harry Kewell has Champions League experience. Perhaps Ange is wanting to tap into that as well, given that Celtic are going to, of course, be in the Champions League this season. Did you know that? Were you aware that we're in the Champions League? I don't think we've mentioned it yet. Just on the second bit of news, the staff restructuring that has gone on at Celtic, with Kewell coming in to join the first team coaching staff and Stephen McManus being moved down to the B team. Ange said, "I was keen to restructure our coaching setup. A critical part of this was having a close link between the first team and B team coaching structures, and Stephen's role will also be hugely important for us as we look to get that conveyor belt of talent going between the B team directly up to the first team. I wanted a really strong connection to the development of our B team, and Stephen, with his knowledge of our current first team philosophy and demands, will be ideal in this role." Great stuff. I think it's kind of hard to come out with any negatives from that. It seems to make a fair bit of sense. Ange and Stephen McManus will have built up a relationship, having worked together since Ange arrived at the club, so that's key. There's immediately someone Ange can speak to who he already has a real relationship with. I know he'll have a relationship with like Tommy McIntyre and Darren O'Day, but this is someone he's worked with at close quarters for the last year, so that's really important. And I think the bit Ange touches on there in those quotes, the fact that Stephen McManus knows how Celtic first team train, he knows exactly what Ange wants from his players, he knows exactly how Ange wants the team to play. I think it's just further evidence of that alignment we're seeing between the first team and the B team. I would urge anyone who's in a relatively local area to Airdrie, where the B team play, to go and watch them next season. They're going to be in the Lowland League again, and it's great just to go down one afternoon and see the stars of the future. They play quite similarly to the first team. You'll see that straight away. Quick corners, quick throw-ins, passing out from the back, inverted fullbacks at times as well. So I would urge you to do that. And great news. And just on Harry Kewell as well, that's obviously the main story here. I just think it raises the standards. It just feeds into everything we've been saying about Celtic moving forward next season, not standing still at all. And hopefully Harry Kewell can have the same sort of impact at the club that Damien Duff did a couple of years ago. I think it was widely known that the players loved Damien Duff. I think someone of Harry Kewell's stature will have a similar impact on that Celtic squad. Tom Rogic, clearly a fan of this appointment, judging by what he posted on Instagram. Miss you a lot, Tom. But yeah, great stuff. The other bit of official news coming out of Celtic yesterday was that Joe Hart has been given the number 1 jersey for next season. He was wearing 15 last year, but he's now taken Vasilis Barkas. gone but never forgotten's number. He's obviously away on loan to FC Utrecht for the coming season. Joe Hart himself posting on Instagram saying, "Big season ahead. I feel truly honoured to be wearing the number 1 shirt for this special club. See you all soon." Again, the messaging here is key and it's brilliant. You get the impression the players have already moved on from last season. They're no longer thinking about winning the league or winning the League Cup or what happened in Europe last year. All focus is on next year, and all of the stuff coming out of their mouths, well, not literally, but coming out of their Twitter and their Instagram accounts, is that it's all gearing up for a major season next year. And I think it's well deserved for Joe Hart as well. I just think he and the rest of the team are going to come flying out of the blocks when the season starts. Transfer news, it's simmering away. Anthony Joseph had a few updates yesterday. The first bit saying that we're in advanced talks with Benjamin Siegrist. I think that's one that will probably be announced in the next week or so. Don't see any hitches there. He says we're also continuing our pursuit of Alexandro Bernabé. His club Lanús are wanting £4 million. We haven't agreed on that price yet. It kind of feels like that one may have legs to go. Same probably goes for Vinicius Souza as well. Ajax are said to have entered the race to sign him. Sky Sports News understands that the City Football Group, who own Lomel, who are his current club, would rather he was loaned out to Celtic, but they don't really decide. It's up to the player and his entourage. Certainly from the teams that are linked with them, there's at least, I think, 2 others that are in the Champions League group stage. There's, I think, Fenerbahce are in there as well. It seems like this guy has some sort of pedigree and a lot of clubs are interested in him. But if he's not totally convinced about coming to Celtic or Scottish football, then Ange isn't going to go for it. I saw some reports earlier as well saying that he could look to hold off right until the end of the summer. Again, I don't get the impression that is something that Ange will go for. So I think I would have a lot of doubts whether this deal is going to happen for Souza. But again, we totally trust Ange. I mean, I was thinking this earlier, the amount of players that Celtic have been linked with since Ange came to the club that haven't gone through. Riley McGree was one. Remember Patrick Roberts? Ange had conversations with him last year. We also had the fullback Jan Kuto. And not signing these players gave opportunities to other players to shine. Juranovic, we signed Matt O'Reilly when we didn't sign Riley McGree. You look at someone like Jota, who's perhaps been allowed to shine more, given that we didn't sign Paddy Roberts, or Leah Labada's another one who's probably benefited from that. And Ange himself benefited from Eddie Howe not coming to the club. Sorry to bring that up again. But I just think that's a bit of a theme of this team. You know, we don't sign certain players, but it doesn't matter because Ange always tends to get it right in the transfer window. So if we don't sign Vinicius Souza, I'm not overly bothered. If we don't sign Bernabé, I'm not overly bothered. I trust that Ange will get the right player and the right personality into Celtic. But hopefully he can do it relatively quickly. In terms of outgoing transfers, we spoke about Luca Connell leaving the club, posting a lengthy Instagram. He has signed for Barnsley on a 3-year deal after his contract at Celtic ended. All the best to Luca Connell. They're a good level to be going to in the second tier of English football. And talking about leaving Scottish football and going to English football, referee Bobby Madden has left our game to move down south. Didn't really know you could do that, to be honest. It's kind of like that Scottish guy that phoned up TalkSport a fortnight ago saying that he now supports England. It's like, can you really do that? Well, clearly you can, because Bobby Madden has done that. Reports saying that he will referee mainly English League 1 and English League 2 games next season, which is kind of sad. I really wanted to see him in the Premier League, but maybe one day. The main takeaway here is, of course, Celtic won't be refereed by Bobby Madden next season. And I dare say you will all have your thoughts on that. I, of course, have nothing to say about Bobby Madden at all. So let's move on. What else? I bought a classic Celtic shirt this morning. It should arrive next week. Any guesses what one it was? It was from early 21st century. First few years of the 21st century anyway. It's an absolute cracker, so can't wait for that to arrive. As I say, transfer stuff is kind of just simmering away. Not a great deal to report. Nothing new, really. I'm hoping it'll pick up next week, given that next week is basically the final full week we have without Celtic. Celtic will be back in less than a fortnight, and Ange will want players in for that. So I'm hoping next week will be a busy one, and we will, of course, be with you all of the way, apart from Sundays when I like to put my feet up. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye and put my feet up. Have a good weekend, everyone.